me, Kevin Rogers. Look, you can see it right there. I wrote it on the screen for you in case you forgot my name. And let me know you're here. Say hello. I want to see you in the chat. Tell me where you are. Where are you on this fine Friday? We're going to get into the content. I'm going to answer all your questions. This is about the Copywriting Crossroads Summit, and it's a very big event in my life and career, and for this industry. As you may have sensed from the way I've been talking about this event and what we're going to help you understand and do is pretty serious. 1 year ago, just 1 year ago, ChatGPT came into our lives, and a lot of people did a lot of things, but what we all knew was true is that we were going to have to wait and see what this thing really did and how it affected our business. I think now we know, and I want to share with you what I've learned and what I'm hearing, more importantly, from the top players in the business, what I've seen from people who are just starting out. Anyone can succeed right now going into the future and have it better than it's been. But there's some things we're going to have to correct about how we think and operate going forward. So, again, let me see you in the comments. I want to know who's here. Say hello. Say what's up. With these lives, you got to give a minute for people to get in, but hit me up in the comments. I want to make sure that's working. I am not seeing comments. I see Tommy. Yeah, cool. Jason, hey, awesome. George, good to see you. Thank you. All right. Tell me where you are today. Where'd you wake up? Did you wake up in a place you recognize? Oh, what's up, DK? Oh, you live in Montreal. Awesome. DK helped me out earlier, pointing out a little mistake on the sales page. Always good to have some friendly eyes out there. Rev's here. Good. Dalton. Hey, Dalton, what's up? Okay. Lee, Victoria from Argentina. All right. Good. Let's make sure we're all working here, and let's rock and roll. So first, I want to bring on my compadre, my business partner, Rob. Rob is half human, half he's not at all a robot, but he's on the level. He understands how AI thinks, how it operates. This is the guy who has spent more time in the lab with these tools as they've come out over this last year than anybody I know. He knows the ones that work great. He knows the ones that don't work at all. And he, most importantly, sees the trend for how they are starting to falter and what's coming down the pike. So let's get Rob on here. Oh, see what I told you? He's Rob, I think you're still in robot mode. You must have been in the lab there.
Getting out the lab, it is time to have some fun. It's time to get serious about what we're doing here. How are you, everybody?
Good to see Rob Tillman, our Chief Innovations Officer, and helping us innovate into the future. But again, this Crossroads Summit, Rob, is less about the technology and more about how we, as human freelance copywriters and freelancers, think about, interact with, and behave amidst the technology that is now very much a part of all of our lives, and what that is doing not only to how we interact, how we create, but how our clients and our future clients are thinking about that.
And that's one of the reasons why I jokingly put on the Iron Man mask, is because it's still a person. The person is still making the decisions. The person is building up and is being empowered by the bots and not letting the bots take over. So I want everybody to understand that's the key, is we use the technology. The technology doesn't use us. The technology doesn't overrun everything. And we'll be really focusing in on what that human needs to do in order to use the technology and not be used by it or replaced by it.
100%. And I want to go back to a couple moments that really led to this particular summit and why we are doing it here at the end of the year. These dates are important. It is next week. It is December 6th and 7th, next Wednesday and Thursday. We will be live with you. We'll be in the studio, fully interactive. Rob and I will be in the studio together. We will see all of you, everybody in the summit, in front of us on a screen. So plan to have your camera on. Of course, you can turn it off to do what you want to do, but we're going to go for 6 hours each day. And I'm telling you, this is not information. This is an intense workshop. And we are going to give you the 111-day plan for what you need to do going in, finishing out this year, and then coming out of the chute in January, as the kind of copywriter you need to be and seen as, in order to make it. Rob, why is it so important that we do some things in those 21 days starting December 12th after the summit, leading up before the new year? Oh, we lost your sound there somehow.
Everybody needs to realize preparation is the most important part. Everybody does this crazy thing. They make a New Year's resolution. Oh, New Year's, I'm going to do this. And then it's New Year's Day. And they're like, I don't feel like it. A week goes by. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get right to this. But now it's the beginning of the month. So you know what? Let me get through this month and let me get to February. And like February 1st, I'm going to do it. February 1st comes and goes. Then, February is a short month and had a lot to do. And they move themselves all the way into March, April, May. And before they know it, they have missed their entire year. The reason why so many people, when we had our other live and we asked the question, did you meet your 2023 goals? There were so many people that said no. And one of the major reasons why people don't meet their goals is because they wait too long to get their plans together. And they don't do all the preparation. They think that once you make the plan, everything is going to go exactly according to plan. There are no straight streets on earth. Every one of them twists and turns because they're a path, because they don't go straight and don't go according to plan. The 21 days before the summit, there's going to be some reps that we're going to get in with people. They're going to get some understanding of how the 2024 is going to go. They're going to get an understanding of how to use the 111-day plan. Literally, the first 21 days are getting the understanding, building in the reps, understanding what they need to do to be successful.
Oops. I broke something. I lost Rob. I'm sorry.
Because we intend to go very in depth. We're not holding back. We're going to make sure that we give everybody all we can so that 2024 can be their year.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, one thing I've been, there's always these themes that come up because I talk to freelancers all day. I talk to, people who run multi-million-dollar companies all day, always trying to bring these two entities together. So I'm in full discussion and understanding of what's transpired this year and how people are thinking. One thing freelancers do, and look, I get it. This is why I love coaching freelancers. I did it. We all do it. And this is the number one thing that you can't do anymore. All right. When you got some work and your calendar's full, what's everybody do? What's the first thing we do? Stop marketing our own business. And I've had so many people come to me and go, like, I know what you're going to, I know I knew better, but, and I was thinking about this, like, why do we do this? Couple reasons. Number one is we understand how to serve our clients. All right. The work comes in, do the work. You want to do great work. You're dedicated to it. You know what that feels like. You know what the ebb and flow of it is. Job one is to deliver great work on time. Great. But why don't we treat our own businesses with the same urgency? Because all it takes is 1 or 2 hours a week to really keep your leads flowing, to never have feast and famine in your business, right? I think it's a couple things. One is when it comes to putting out what I call authority content, planting your flag and letting people know what it is you do and do well. We get too in our heads about it and we overthink it. I was telling somebody yesterday, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
our new member, Stuart, I said, when you think about authority content, imagine you're teaching a friend what you do. They're interested, they're excited. What's this copywriting thing? You're just teaching right to him and say, here's a new thing I learned, or here's something I implemented into a campaign, and then just explain it. That's all the authority content needs to be, a letter to a friend.
There you go. Everybody thinks that they have to be the authority, and it's not about that. You can be the reporter of the things that are going on, and they still give you that same level of authority. It's crazy. And you hit on this point that so few people really know how to break up their days. At some point, if we get a chance, I'll even give them a sneak peek into the one tool that we built that'll make sure that they understand how to break up those days, and they'll get an understanding of what we did and like the depths we went to get them prepared. We've done stuff that we never
Yeah.
did before in breaking it down as easy as possible so that every day they know what they should be doing and it's not a guess.
It's incredible. What do you guys see this tool that Rob built? Essentially, imagine, because this is, look, what Rob and I's mission is for this summit and going forward is to take all the guesswork and all the vagary and all the fantasy about how you should be living as a freelance copywriter. And think about it. Really think about your goals. And if last year didn't go the way you wanted it to, sure, there might have been some external and internal conflict you dealt with. Everybody has stuff. But at the end of the day, business got to run and things have to be done. And so, but think about how vague some of those goals might be. You maybe
Mhm.
are only being hard on yourself because you had somebody else's goal in mind. And that somebody else may have just been trying to sell you a fantasy. Okay. So we have built a tool, Rob has built a tool that we're going to give you during the summit where you can put in the number that you want to earn in 2024, and it calculates every single thing you need to do to reach that goal. Isn't that incredible? I mean, what do you see this thing? And
Literally.
And so if you're freelancing and it's just you, right? What I call path one, this is how many proposals you're going to have to send out every month to reach those goals. And it even calculates for the busier times of the year and our industry. It's incredible. If you're a path two, where you like to work with retainer clients and you're not out hustling around and taking a bunch of leads, well, how many projects are you going to have to do, partner projects? Do you need to have 1, 2, 3 retainers, right? And so now suddenly you have a dashboard in front of you where you can calculate the amount of work you need or are willing or want to do compared to how much actual life you want to live. See, because here's the thing that happens. People come to me with a number. And look, I can make, if you're skilled and motivated and hungry, I can help you reach just about any financial goal you want. Okay. But the question is, how do you want your life to be to reach that
Mhm.
goal? See, everybody sells this fantasy of, oh, you should only be working 2, 3 hours a day. And not if you're starting out. Let's be real. And you're not going to go from $0 to $10,000 next month if you've
Mhm.
never had a client. It's just not realistic. Let's stop dealing in fantasy. The biggest problem this industry has is that people have been selling copywriting as biz op, as this easy money making opportunity for years now. And you guys, I see people here who I know are active working freelance copywriters. Do you even want to work just 2 hours a day and then we'll go to the beach and sit there and be restless? And it's just not how it works.
Mm-mm.
Look, the reason we're special, the reason we're valued, the reason we're indispensable when we do this right is because what we do is hard. Not everybody can do it. We wear that badge with pride, copywriter, because the right people know what that term means and they know what you can bring to their business. So then you get really good at that thing. And then you say, but what am I particularly good at? Am I great
Mhm.
at strategizing email campaigns, right? Am I great at webinars? Am I great at any automations? Am I great at long form? Do I love the big idea? And then because you put in the work and got the experience to get results with the first thing, now you start to specialize on the things after that. Okay, makes sense. There was across the street from me. I'm going to take pictures of this. I wish I would have taken a picture of the truck when it was happening. There is an old multi-unit dwelling across the street from my house, and it was sinking into the ground. I mean, you could see it. It was like split a little at the top. People were still living in it. It was sinking into the ground. A company came and it said on the side of the truck, I forget the industry, but it was like house lifters or something. They came and they jacked up the building, and then they filled it with and they straightened it and they fixed it, and then they drove away 2 days later. Okay, nobody went to high school saying, you know, I know my dream job would be to fix sinking buildings. That they started doing. They probably in the construction industry. They had an interest. They developed a specialty, and they saw an opportunity. It's the same for us. But we have so much opportunity and there's so much going on in our industry. It's so easy to get lost and think we have to learn everything and do everything. My number one message for everybody at this summit, and the number two thing we have to do after not ignoring the fact that we run a business, is focus our energy on the one thing that we do best or want to be best at and get really damn good at it. And so when I say there's going to be two kinds of copywriters in 2024, the bots and the best, what I mean by the best, obviously we can't all be, universally accepted as the best at one thing. It's about what's the best you can be and what do you want to be the best at, and then providing evidence that you are one of the best at that thing. You don't have to be the only one. There can be 10 of the best. And the reason that matters is because I'm sitting around that table at the Legends Lock-In, Rob, with 19 of the best copywriters in the world. And not a single one of them are a bit concerned about their future.
And they shouldn't be. Just like what one of the things that happens is people, they do get afraid. They look at that word, the best, and we know, everybody, we understand. You're like, well, you have these self-doubts. It's not even imposter syndrome. It's literally self-doubt where you're thinking, how can I be the best? And behind me is this thing called rule number 1, don't be number 2. And the most effective and fastest way is to create a category of one. And we'll be even talking about that. We'll talk about that in the summit. We actually have people who do the exact same thing as other people, but they do it in a different way. They position themselves as category of one. And we want to make sure everybody understands that is one of the things you're going to have to do. You can't be caught in this sea of sameness. You have to find a way to translate your message so that you are a category of one. And that's hands down one of the things that everybody's going to have to do. And we need to take them to understand that. And that's even a specific part of what we do in the summit is breaking down how do you create your category of one. And we give examples with the people who have already done it.
100%. And one of our speakers will be Lucas Rashesky. Mm-hmm. If you guys know Lucas, he's very dedicated to this craft. He's one of the best coaches in our industry. He gets incredible results for his students. And I was speaking to Lucas earlier and about what trends have you seen, right? With yourself, with your students, with your clients that you work for and consult with. In his estimation, the people who are doing junior level copy work, 80% of that will be replaced over the next couple of years. So what is junior level copy work? It's the nice to have stuff. Well, somebody's got to do it, and right now it's a human. Well, that's the stuff that the bots. We're talking about some research. Maybe you're writing some bullets, and maybe you're writing titles of videos, and it really, you're just kind of in the door, you're doing some, let's say, call it copy grunt work, and you're hopefully learning how to get better. Okay. So you still have a small window if you're new at this, but you got to build a lab around you. And maybe the company you're working with provides you that lab where you're seeing what does it look like at a higher level? What are the things that really move the needle on the sales? And where can I slot myself in to be indispensable, to be effective, to bring something that a human has to bring? Because then you have your mid-level copywriters, and so we'll call them senior level, right? So now this is where you're starting to get that. That's not going to go away anytime soon. And then you have mastery. So on your way to mastery, how do you not only get work, keep work, but be seen at advance within that work? And if you're doing this on an island somewhere all on your own, it's going to be very difficult to do because you're not getting feedback. And if you're stuck with how to get the clients you meet on Upwork, 90% of the time are not going to help you develop. It is not their goal to help you develop into a great copywriter so they can't afford you. They're just going to keep paying the lowest rate possible for the people who can afford to do grunt work. Okay. So you have to be working in communities and with people and on teams and have peers and cohorts of people who are achieving that best, and see what are they doing differently? Where do I need to spend my energy? Not pinballing around trying to learn everything. So it doesn't even matter to me that much how much you use or don't use AI in your work. And that's why that's in the tools Rob has built are unbelievable, mind-blowing. I could spend the next hour having him explain how he's kept our tools, our frameworks from going off the rails and being subject to all the problems that we're seeing with ChatGPT and these other
Oh my
platforms.
goodness! Not even that. Not even just that. This week they just put out every major brand. Sorry, every major media outlet is sharing the problems that actually have come through that we talked about before it ever happened. They're actually leaking people's data. They're
Mm,
literally leaking. So the people who are building the tools the wrong way, they are
mm,
literally, if you build your own tool in the wrong way, then you literally gave your information, all of your IP to ChatGPT, and they're sharing it with the world. So you have no literal advantage over anybody. The way we built our tools, we kept it away from all of that. And the way we've been telling people is you need to protect your IP. And all of you, all copywriters, words are your IP. You should not be building up those individual tools the way that they're telling you how to do them, because you're going to lose everything that you have if you do it that way. It's crazy.
yeah. I want to go back to what you just said, because this is another really big thing for you guys to think about. IP, your intellectual property. This has always been one of the greatest things about being a creative, and serving your clients creatively, because you are building things all the time. Those things filtered through your lens is your IP. Now, I'm
Hmm.
not saying like if whatever your contract is with the client and they say, well, we own the copy when it's done,
Yeah.
fine. But the process and the way you go about building it, that's your IP because you built that in your own lab, you see? And then but you hear what Rob's saying. Now people are unknowingly building things out in ChatGPT and in other platforms and giving it away. They signed away the rights to what they built. And it goes back to the thing you've been hearing people say, and probably kind of half ignoring because doing it the other way is hard, is like, don't build on rented land.
Hmm.
I have never once sold people a Facebook group ever. Why would I do that? I built a forum where I have clubs, same exact effect, but I own all of it. It's my machine. Why would I? So they don't build on rented land. You don't own it. They could shut it down. They could change the rules. They could kick you out. You have no say in it whatsoever. And that's
Hmm.
what's happening now. So your intellectual property, think of it as your savings account. You get to develop as you're getting paid to learn, you're getting paid to get better, you're getting paid to develop your own systems, and you keep a file of it, and you're developing procedures, and maybe you make trainings, and that's your IP. That's like your savings retirement account.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know when you're going to tap into it or use it. But I promise you, if you go through the freelancer's journey, all through 7 phases, in phase 5, 6, 7, you're going to be making more money off the IP, call it the sawdust or whatever, from the work you did, the knowledge you gained, than you ever did working with clients. I can tell you that from my own experience and other people I've coached. So do you see the big picture here? But you've got to know what you're signing up for and what you're giving. This is why, just to stay on AI for a second, you can't rely on these tools and trust blindly that you're building something that you will still own after you built it there.
And the volatility of them. Everybody sees what just happened with OpenAI, and even though their CEO is back with the company, they've actually lost a lot of corporate clients. So I track everything that they're doing. I watch all the different types of things and how they do it. And literally, people are skittish now. They're like, wait a second, we don't know how this is going to work out. A lot of tools got crushed when OpenAI had their dev day, and it crushed a lot of tools. And now they're crushing themselves. It's just the whole entire space is volatile. One of the things we are is we're a safe haven because we just don't get caught up in all the mess. One of the things I'm constantly doing in the lab is assessing all the tools, assessing all the players, assessing all those things. So I only bring to the table the things that will work for us. There was another question that someone had that was this morning. They were like, you know what? Well, what about all the different softwares? They asked a question related to, well, are you all going to tell us which softwares to use, which softwares to not use? Are you going to give us the softwares that we need? And the answer is yes, with an asterisk. We will share with you what to look for in the different softwares based upon what you're doing. Everybody's situations are a bit unique, but there are certain things that will work for just about anybody. And those are the types of things we recommend. We don't recommend chasing every tool. We don't recommend that people buy everything. That's what we're here for, is to look through all those things and figure them out. But we also are here to tell you where to not go. Sometimes it's way more important what we tell you to not do than it is for the things that we tell you to do. We'll share with you, don't follow that path because that's not going to lead you anywhere. You're going to end up having to restart if you do that.
Yeah, or lose everything you built or find out you never owned it in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to address a couple more questions we've had come in, and please put them in the chat here, because and again, that's why I was saying we know all these things. We will be looking out for you with all these things, but this summit is less about what you do with AI and more about understanding what you can bring to any project as a human element copywriter. There is a place where the bots end, and that's where the human begins. And the best companies I know, universally accepted theme at that lock-in, sitting around with 19 of the best copywriters in the world. Our jobs and our lives just got easier because the bots are so effective at some things. But they're going to continue to falter in ways that nobody predicted. And we are in a better position than we've ever been because we are valued in 2 ways now. Either we work with the bots and we take what they can do and make it on a level that we've always produced great copy because we're dedicated, we're specialists, right? So it just shaved off some time and made it easier. We know how to look through it, make sure it's doing the right stuff, right? It's a good assistant. Or like Rob was pointing out, there's a new update or they changed something, and suddenly all the systems that a business was relying on, thinking, oh, we're getting away with it, we get to fire our copywriters and we're going to use the bots. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Somebody hits a button.
And it's all gone.
It's all gone. You see? So those are the kind of situations where they're going to say, "Oh, now I need a human, and I need them to be one of the best."
There you go. Literally, ChatGPT had outages. ChatGPT, I just focus that because so many people understand that. But does anybody actually know that right now, if you were to try to sign up for a paid ChatGPT, you can't do it. They literally have locked it out where new people can't even sign up for the paid version anymore because they're working on the back end and they're trying to figure some things out. So some of the people who said, "Oh yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT," the answer is you only have the free version. You can't even get the paid version. It gives you some of the accesses to different types of things that are behind the scenes. And even with the paid version, the performance is downgrading every single day. What that means for a great copywriter is if they understand these problems and they're able to articulate them to a company, they will be super valuable and they'll be that first call because they're going to start looking. These companies who've got rid of all the copywriters and all the copywriters who got out of the business, they're going to have fewer choices now. And the people who are a choice, again, the supply and demand, those people are going to be way more valuable, but they have to know how to position themselves. They have to know how to put together what they do so they can share with a client that they understand what that client really needs. That's one of the things that's always been hard, but it's going to be even harder now because they're going to ask a question, a very simple question. What do you do that the bot can't do? Think about that question for a second, everybody. What do you do that the bot cannot do? And that's one of the things we're really going depth in is distinguishing between what is bot work and what is human work. And you have to have that really down pack and be able to really go through that. Somebody shares, were we selling a Orzi AI? And the answer is yes. That is a very specific, detailed thing that we do. We are developing AI tools that help copywriters, but we're developing them in a very different way. I'll only give a really short snippet here because that's not the purpose of this talk. But the short snippet is everything we do, we build it in a way that is trained to do the right things. It's not built like a ChatGPT overhang that just says, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me this thing." We built and trained it on the frameworks of Chris Orzakowski Email Copy Academy, and it really holds tight. As a matter of fact, it holds so tight. One of the questions that I got was, "Wait a second, every time I use this in this certain way, then it gives me really almost the same kind of output." And I said, "That's by design, not an accident. It's because it's so tight about using the framework. It gives it to you the right way, and it doesn't just keep giving you random things." If you are a copywriter working for a company, they don't want random, they want consistency.
Exactly right. So yeah, the answer is, thank you for asking. I always want you to call
Mhm.
me out if you think I'm talking BS or changing my vibe overnight. We built that tool. Rob built that tool. And the hardest part of building that tool was making sure it did not go off the rails. Okay. And so that's what we're talking about. And again, I don't want to really get down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
of because there's a
Mhm.
million people talking about the tech this is about you.
Mhm.
And there's different levels to this. But man, if you've been hiding from this, or if you think maybe, well, eventually some version of this will come along and it'll just it'll be fixed. And okay, it's still we're going back in time, everybody, to a time when if you wanted to be a copywriter, you had to work hard and get good. Okay. There was a nice fluffy period in the middle there, or until up until now, for the last 3-4 years, where you could make a decent living writing sort of low level
Mhm.
of importance copy, broadcast emails, things that didn't really make a sale, but it was right, just one step above content, but we're calling it copy. Okay, that can't be the case anymore. Used to be back in my day, everybody. There were only a few of us because it was hard and you had to be good and you had to have the right skill sets. So there's going to be a cleansing in our industry. There's going to be a lot of people who right now are calling themselves copywriters. If they don't get on board and they don't focus and they don't specialize, they're going to go away. And you know what? I'm not mad about it.
Nope, not at all.
It's necessary. I can't tell you how many companies come to me so frustrated with the kind of people who come to them calling themselves copywriters with no experience, no evidence of an ability to get a result, and worse than that, no motivation, no dedication. I was just talking to Donnie French the other day. He wouldn't mind me sharing this with you. Donnie is doing some of the highest volume in the direct response industry in the golf niche, building a company to be evaluated at $500 million over the next couple of years. $500 million company. He needs copywriters. He is a copywriter. He needs good copywriters. And he showed me something somebody sent to him, and it was basically like, "Hey, I've never written in golf, and I don't really golf, but I really want to be a good copywriter, so you should consider me." What? What are we? What? He should stop what he's doing to get on a phone with somebody who's not even doing any work to show him his dedication. I asked Clayton Makepeace once, what are the traits of a copywriter who succeeds? He said 3 simple things. Number 1, smarts. Do they get it? Are they smarter than the average person? Do they see the world through the eyes of a salesperson? 2, hunger. Are they hungry? Do they really want to succeed? Number 3, can they write a letter? I'm talking about a 1-page Dear Mom letter. Do they understand how to communicate with words in a way that gets a reaction from people? He said, that's all I need. You give me that. Smarts, hunger, ability to write a simple letter, and I can turn somebody into a great copier. That's all we need, everybody. But we got to get past all these fantasies and all this BS that a prompt is going to make you a great copywriter. Or, come on, man, prompts. You're on a platform that has no consistency. How can your prompt ever be reliable as a way to become a great It's not a trick. It's not a game. You understand? We're not going to get away with some hack or some tool that's going to make us indispensable to good clients. This is a business. This is a relationship business. And we want to help you choose your path to becoming the best version of you, because we have people waiting to meet you. In the last 6 months, I've put the new head of copy at Tony Robbins. I put the new head of copy at Marie Forleo. I filled Grant Cardone's entire writing team last year. Okay. I've been around the longest, doing this the longest time, since 2014. I'm the guy people come to say, can you help me find a good copywriter? That's who I've ended up as, okay, in this industry. I love it. I love making these connections. And I can tell, I credentialize myself to tell you they're really frustrated. The people who are looking for the best, they don't want just a bot, and they don't want a poser, someone who is told what to say to get them to pay them money and then hope maybe they write something that they're not stupid. They're the ones writing the copy now. So they're not going to hand it over to somebody with no experience. Okay. So if you're on that fence and you've been playing that game and you've been buying that fantasy, it's over. It is over.
There you go. It's a fantasy. One of the things that we have to just put on the table for everybody, okay? On the table for every single person here that's listening, you can choose to listen to what we're sharing and believe it, and understand that we have one purpose, which is to make sure that we're protecting this craft and that we're putting together the game plan for you to have the best year ever. Or you can say, nah, I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that the bots are ready to take over. I don't think that things are going to get rough. I don't think that there are going to be challenges in 2024. And you can believe that. And we're not here to convince anybody. All we're doing is very specifically providing an avenue to help the people who are committed to this craft to actually have the best year possible. It's not about apps. It's not about AI. It's the whole crux of what we're doing is we're empowering people to know how to use their unique copywriting DNA to position themselves as one of the best, be able to articulate to clients what they're able to do that is very different than what AI does, give you specific examples from what the best are doing, be able to design a specific plan for yourself that forces you, literally, it forces you to not get derailed, not get shiny object syndrome. It forces you that every single day for the 111 days after you get that clarity over those 2 days of the summit to actually put in action what it's going to take to make it your best year. That's all we can offer. And again, we can't make anybody do it. We can't make anybody even believe it.
Right. And could there be a less sexy message for me to be sharing with you right now?
There you go.
Hey, if I could be selling you all kinds of shiny stuff if I was just here to make some money. The opportunity is unbelievable for the people who are willing to focus it's not even about doing more work. I was talking to someone yesterday who was talking to a copywriter she's been mentoring for years. And he was saying, you work long enough and one day you look up and you've achieved mastery and the money's better and life is better. And he said, I get paid like 10 times more now than I used to. And it's the same work. It's not harder work. I'm just much better at it. And I'm much better at doing it for companies who appreciate it. So that trend will continue. But the on-ramp has shortened a lot. You see,
that's the key.
The on-ramp is shortened a lot. I want to answer one question that somebody wrote in to me with this morning. That was a really good question. And I'll just read it. They said, the clients I work with and make a good enough living from are small business owners. They're nowhere near the dudes like Donnie French willing to spend $300,000 to optimize their upsell. I still want to serve small business owners, so I'm not interested in getting on the radar of the big guns with strategies that are meant to capture their attention. But clearly the game has changed for everyone, and I want to figure out a way to reposition myself as a valuable asset for these smaller folk. Will the summit address that, or will it be focused on where the most money is? Really good question. Look, you can have whatever kind of client you want in any kind of market, and you don't have to suddenly say, oh, well, I'm only going after the top tier. Like I'm going to go into financial copywriting because that's the only people spending money. Not the case at all. What matters is two things. The clients you have to understand the value you're providing. They have to be actively marketing and investing in their marketing to the point where they can see the cause and effect and what bad copy is costing them. Otherwise, how can they appreciate what you're actually bringing to them? They have to partner with you in the goal of seeing an improved result. And they have to believe that you are one of the best at helping them get that particular result. Whether that means you bring an amazing creative way of telling stories or getting attention or getting points across, or you've got some, you're really innovative with new tools and ways to, it doesn't matter how you get them there, but there has to be an end result that improves their bottom line for you to be valued. So my answer,
I'm sorry. My apologies.
Yeah, it's just to wrap up my answer is there isn't one kind of type of client you have to go through. There's just a requirement for a business owner who can appreciate what you bring. So your intent has to be, I'm going to get good at a thing that gets a result that means more money to my client, because then they are happy to pay me to make them more money. And I'm only going to work with companies who do that and care about that. And it may take some iteration for you to figure out that thing. Yes, you can work with other kinds of clients until then while you get good. But if you don't have intent and you don't see where you would apply your skills and develop your skills towards to become that, you're just going to be floating around the ocean, and then a wave is coming and you're going to drown.
That was the part I was going to hit on and reinforce again, Kev, too, is that especially the people who are working with smaller clients. If you made your living with smaller clients, great for you. And there's a unique opportunity you have. However, those are going to be some of the first people who everyone around them is going to say, why don't you try this tool? I know that you've been using this person, but this person is just like this tool. Someone that they're around is going to get in their ear, is going to tell them, why don't you just try ChatGPT? Why don't you just try this? Why don't you try this? It's people with good intentions that are going to tell them this. And one of the things you can absolutely do is you can arm them with the awareness of what you bring to the table. So when people come to talk to them and offer them these solutions, then they know what to say. They're going to get bombarded with people, if they haven't already been, that are offering them, hey, you're a small business and can I share with you, if you got this software, you'd be able to do blah, 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 blah. One of the things you have to do is preemptively make them aware of what value you have so they have the right questions to ask. So they can say, hey, well, I'm, I'm not saying no, but can you do this? And then they're going to find a lot of no's. But if you haven't pre-armed them with all the right questions, then they're going to try that thing. And you're going to see a ghosting. You're going to see a lull in this business while they're trying out these things because they don't even know what good copy is. They look at what you do and they don't understand all the dynamics. They don't understand all the skills that you're bringing to the table. So they have somebody who shows them something that looks pretty and they say, well, it's probably the same thing. It's extremely important that everybody understand how to position yourself and completely differentiate yourself from what you are versus a bot.
Huge. And again, it's a relationship business. And if you have that relationship with your client, you can have those conversations because we're going to see this trend. And Rob has been in industries in the past and been seeing these trends where people are going to want the easy thing and they're going to let go of their copywriters. They're going to try a bot or some tech. They're going to realize it's not as good. It doesn't work. Then they're going to come back. There's two things though. You can't always stop that from happening and you can't wait for them to come back. You need to be in front of the people who get it. And believe me, when I hear Donnie French say he spent $300,000 on copywriters to try to be one upsell sequence, I say, there's a lot of money out there. And there's a lot of, and the companies who have the money and are spending the money are the ones who understand direct response and will love to meet you. They're asking me all the time. My motivation with this, and the reason I'm being like, I'm not trying to sell you tools or I need good copywriters, everybody. I need good copywriters. I will find the work is there. Okay. I need people to step up and become good. Going back to what you were saying, Rob, I thought of this analogy. Imagine like what's going to be like for freelancers. You're a lawn service company and a new what do they call that vacuum, right? That goes around your house.
The broom, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. The broom, they make a broom for lawns. And now you go, hey, why, you're paying this lawn company $150 a month. I'll sell you this thing for $450 and it'll do your lawn forever. And all you got to do is turn it on and it knows how to cut your lawn. Right. And then you'll, oh, wow, how could I say no to that? Well, now the thing's off in the neighbor's yard and it's, and it's cutting your grass too low and your grass is dying and you're, see, that's what's going to happen to, and like Rob said, they're going to be actively sold these kinds of solutions and tools. And so we need to understand who we are, what we bring, so we can stop some of that from happening. Other times we can't stop it from happening. But all that matters for us is we're only talking to clients who we don't need to have that conversation with because they know the limitation of a bot and they know the value of a human feeling, connecting, communicating copywriter. Okay.
And the other piece of this thing is you touched on it, that everybody has a shorter runway. Every single person was, tomorrow I'll get to it. Tomorrow I'll get to it. I have a lot of time. The answer is that's the one thing that is very real. The time that you have to figure this portion out has dramatically reduced itself.
Yeah.
If you're going to wait around and try to figure it out, someone else is going to be figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
Why we put this together so fast and why we're putting so much effort and energy into it, and also why we price this thing where it literally is a no-brainer for anybody to go ahead and do it, is because our objective is very clear. People need to be doing something right now. That's our whole thing. We're saying right now, let us share with you what we're doing, what the best are doing, how they're being prepared for 2024. There are things I'm specifically doing. I'm doing to make sure that 2024 does not turn into a catastrophe for me. There are things that I'm doing with Kevin. There are things I know that he's doing that are making sure, because this whole entire thing is going to look different in 2024. And we even in our some of our coaching programs, we used to be even gentler with people. We try to let them go through
Right.
these different phases. And even us, we've leaned into people and said, no, you need to get up to speed faster, and we can help you. Some of the things that we're going to do to make sure that we get people up to speed faster are, again, these different tools that we're building. And we're not talking about tools like AI tools. AI tools are one little small element. The other thing is, we used to let people gradually get into how they're doing their plans. No, one of the things we did here is literally put every single day, what should you be doing to move the needle every single day for the next 111 days, so that you build the muscle memory to do this thing right.
Yeah. So if you trust me, if you know my intention and you know my history, my record, I'd say this is the most important time you could come spend with me. Just, I know I'm like being, it's just, like Rob said, there's just no more rumor. This is kind of an emergency. I'm treating it like an emergency. I spent this whole year immersing myself with the people who are trying to get better copywriters and the frustrations they're seeing, and
Mm-hmm.
the copywriters who are either thriving and succeeding or struggling because they're thinking about it wrong and they're spending their time and energy on the wrong things. And that's the simple thing that I want to get everybody to stop and just listen to me for 2 days, and we will show you everything you need to stop doing and start doing. And then who are the companies looking to hire you? What kind of companies? Not just the ones I know, so many like them. We're going to show you the DNA of a company who will see your value and want you on their team or on their Aussie contractor. So that's it. December 6th and 7th, copychief.com/crossroads. $299, guys. $299. This
It's
is the
unfair. It,
lowest I
it
can
literally,
charge to put this thing on. We rented a studio. Look, I'm not going to go through the P&L with you. I'm
mhm.
just saying, for real, like that's, I think anybody can afford for 2 days to set you up to have the best year of your life as a copywriter next year. Okay. I am not getting rich off of selling $299 tickets to a 2-day event. Okay. That is
Far
not my
from.
goal. This is an emergency. I need your attention. You got to pay attention, and you got to mark off your calendar. And I just want to clarify, if you can't make the summit live, I've worked with my team in the studio to make sure we have same day replays. So if you're on a different time zone, or you have the job to go to, or whatever one of the days, you will have the replays waiting for you that night. The action plan, the 21 days leading up to next year, doesn't start until the 12th. So you'll also have that whole weekend to go through and watch the highlights, the most important stuff of the summit. You're going to get the 111-day playbook. Okay. Yeah, all laid out for you. There's the playbook.
This is just one page in this play, but the thing is 139 pages long, because it breaks down every single day. It goes over everything everybody's going to be learning, literally. But this is the important part that we share with every single person. This is one of the things that they'll get. It'll break down their financial goals. It'll tell them what they need to do. It'll even break down so in depth how many hours they should be breaking down their days. We have this other thing that right here. This is a link. This is a supplement to the 111-day plan, and that's that thing we were talking about, because people just don't realize they don't plan very well. And what we want to do is we literally want to give you a day by day. We want to give you a breakdown of what your time would look like if you were doing this sharing. Literally, in the supplement that you'll get, it has full instructions, and it tells you where to download, how to get this thing, how to make it so it's going to do what you want it to do. It's going to break down for you. You put in your earnings target, whether you're doing projects, have partners, or products. It actually does a realistic calculation based upon how much time you are going to spend in your day. It breaks down. It starts off with how many hours in a day. It breaks down you having to sleep. It breaks down your responsibilities, and it shows you how to use the available time you have available. And it shows you what you should be doing with those things in order to ramp up to, break down, and achieve your goals in 2024.
It is incredible. And so, again, this is not about us giving you information or a rah-rah speech. This is a prep talk, not a pep talk.
That's
and
right.
we are going to prepare you to dominate by having the tools and be able to do your own math. I got to sleep for 7 hours. I got to work for 10 hours. That leaves me 7 hours in a day to do something with this business. Oh, I got to do it. Okay, 1 hour, 2 hours a day. The thing to answer is, what do I do in that time?
That's the key.
You can sit there you say, well, I'm working 2 hours a day. But what would you do? I went on Facebook and I saw what this person said, and I kind of practiced an email. I'm not going to get it. Not going to get it. It's like study time. What are you working on, and how fast you'll grow internally, how you'll feel about your own abilities, plus being around other people who are doing the same thing. Some people who are ahead of you, some people who are behind you. That's what changed my life, everybody. The reason we're talking today and you listen to anything I say is because I found a peer group when I was starting out. I spent the year before I fell in love with copy. I took the AWAI course. That was the only one out there at the time. And then I spent the year having no idea what to do with anything I'd learned. And then I found a magical place. And Frank Kern was in there, and my mentor, Vin Montello. And suddenly I knew everything I needed to know. And it was just about, I just got to catch up and I got to focus. So suddenly, even if I only had 2 babies at home, even if I only had an hour a day, I could progress incredibly because I knew what to do with my time and I knew where to take my energy. That's what we're providing you. Not to mention all the connections, not to mention my Rolodex, not to mention I need good copywriters. This is what we're after. So it's time to step up and say, I'm here. Kev, Rob, tell me where to put my energy. These are the things I love to do. And we're going to say, put your energy here and come show us your progress so that we can connect you with people who are waiting to pay you and hire you for your talents.
Anybody who doesn't come, I'll just give this one super thing for you. Just this is important. We'll go over this stuff with our people. We'll break this down more. But one of the reasons why people don't reach their goals, and one of the reasons why we want to make sure that everybody gets their goals set properly in 2024, is because they plan them linearly. They try to break down a year into, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And they say, I'm just going to put 25% in each one of those quarters. And they say, okay, so my goal was 100,000. Then it would be 25,000 the first 3 months, the second, the third, and the fourth. And the answer is that is a way to sabotage your career. That's a way to sabotage your goals because it doesn't work that way. That's not how life works. And what we deal within our specific way that we're teaching people how to break these goals down, we show them how it's going to do this ramp. We show them where their highs are going to be, the lows are going to be, depending on where you are in your phase and stage in the freelancer's journey. We literally break this down and even show you visually, not just with numbers, visually, how it will look so you can understand, this is realistic and I know how I'm going to get there.
100%. All right, I got to go interview get Chris Haddad prepped for this event. By the way, we didn't even mention the speakers: Donnie French, Rich Sheffrin, Chris Haddad, Lucas Rashesky. And there's only that we were very selective about. This isn't about a bunch of speakers and hearing more information. The reason I chose them is because they are the best at what they do and they work with other copywriters. So they sit on both sides of the table like I do. We're also going to do panels with copywriters that we coach every day we know the ins and outs of their business, and you're going to hear from people who are thriving right now, and you'll see the variety of different ways they go about offering services and getting that result for their clients. So it's going to be very eye-opening, enlightening. You're going to come out feeling empowered and ready. So
Just go read the tell them just go read the link. Go to this
yeah, go
link.
read the
It'll
page. That's
break down
everything you
everything
need
that
to
you
know.
need. It'll break down parts of the agenda. It'll share with you. So if some people are asking what they're going to get, it will tell you everything you're going to get. And anything that's not there, you just ask us a question. We're actively answering them.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody, for spending time with us. Really, really stoked for this, as you can tell. We will see you next week at the summit. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.